today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 45 of Shop Talk. It's Jennifer
and Kari.
And after what seems like a long week to get here, we're finally recapping 419, which was part one of the two-part event. So it was fun. It was a good episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw tons of new faces. You guys know we met Niecy Nash's character, Simone Clark, and we met a couple FBI agents. We met Matthew Garza and Casey Fox, who were played by Felix Solis and Kat Foster. Plus, we got some background into Simone's family when we also got to see her dad, Kari Clark, who was played by Frankie Faison. So we also got plenty of action with like a high stakes case, and it's not over yet, you know, so we still have like next week to look forward to.
And I wasn't expecting everything to like wrap up together, but I was like, okay, this is a really good two-part event, because the ending, it was just like, okay, this is a cliffhanger, like dun dun dun, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, well, because I remember like seeing that it was like 10:59 my time, and I was like, okay, we got like a minute, and I was like, oh, okay, cue the ominous music, that's good, like we're wrapping things up here. But I was just like, I don't know, because they did something similar to like the very end on a different ABC show that I watched, so I was kind of like getting deja vu. But with like the trucks and stuff. But
yeah, I know, the episode flew by for me. Like I looked at my computer clock and it was 9:30, and I was like, okay, cool. And then the next thing I knew, it was 10 o'clock my time. I'm like, wait, that episode's already over? Like, I feel like we didn't get anywhere, but then I was also like, well, we got part 2 next week, so
yeah, but like a movie, like a mini movie.
So we do have some slight news to start with. The rookie cast is on. They did some press this week to like hype up the two-part event. And they were on the Kelly Clarkson show, like the entire cast, which was amazing. Well, I mean, minus Richard and Sean, sad face, but there were some fun moments. Like Kelly had asked about favorite birthdays, and so Melissa shared hers. Eric like gave her crap for it, and you know, kind of like played off of hers, and she believed it for a minute, and then you know, we got like the famous push, and so good. And then like Nathan shared his, and Kelly said that she loves how like hard ass Nyla is. It was just so good, so good. They like went ham on margaritas, it looks like Eric just bypassed the straw and was like, I'm just doing it.
That was my favorite thing ever. I was like, okay.
Did you see the parallel that someone did on Twitter where it was like Lucy and Tim were drinking their beers in the season 1 episode, and then the margaritas? I was like, it's a great parallel. In real life and fictional, but it's a great parallel. And so then we also got Nathan and Niecy 2 separate times. They were on live with Ryan and Kelly, along with some other news outlets for press, which is exciting because they rarely get press, like even interviews, like on Cinema Blend or, you know, Give Me My Remote. So it was cool that they got to do some interviews.
Yeah, it was. So we still just wanted to drop the episode description as well. It's for 420. It's airing this coming Sunday, which is already May, which I didn't really realize. Like, it's gonna be May 1st.
April literally flew by. Like, I don't know where it went.
It did, for sure. So it's called Enervo. The team, alongside the LA division of the FBI, are in a race to stop bombs that have been scattered throughout the city by a suspected terrorist. Meanwhile, the Joint Task Force is suspicious of the CIA's involvement in the situation. So, same guest stars. We have Niecy as Simone, Felix as Agent Garza, Kat as Agent Fox, and then Frankie as Patty Clark. So exciting. It seems like it picks up like right after or like where it leaves off in the
Mhm.
part one. Yeah, so should be good.
Yeah. And then as always, Eric and Rosalind have been releasing new podcast episodes. And yeah, this last one, I just watched a preview of it and I was like, oh my gosh, these two are just chaos, but in the best way.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, that's how Eric put it when they do cast like, whole group shots on the rookie. He was like,
Oh
it's chaos, but in the best way. And that's why they've stopped filming them apparently. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. For sure.
yeah. So let's just go right into the episode because it was a fun and intense one. Those are two
Yeah.
words that you wouldn't normally put together, but I just did. So
I mean, it works though, because it's
yeah.
like they brought like the new characters brought just like a new energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like it. I approve. I think it's definitely a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
It definitely starts off like it's not calm, but just like obviously like I literally thought like I was just very like thrown off because it literally just like it starts with just like this random guys walking along
Mhm.
and notices that the gate is open like to the okay, it says power station in the descriptions, is a power
Mhm.
plant the same thing or am I like being dumb?
I've never heard it called a power station, just like a power
Like a
plant.
power plant. Okay. I had that in this outline here and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's the thing or not. Anyway, so power plant gate is open. When the guy kind of just takes a couple steps closer, we don't actually see the other man come out, which I thought was like clever. Like the camera like was still on. I'm going to explain this terribly. The camera was still on the guy that walked up to the power plant, and we didn't see the mystery man yet. We just heard him, and says that he should come in and like check it out. He doesn't really know like what's going on, but the guy gets a creepy vibe, and since his girlfriend comes by with their dog, because they were just out for a hike, I'm assuming, he kind of uses it as an out to escape, noting how he's probably going to call the police because this guy is serial killer creepy, I believe was
Mhm.
the phrase that he used. So that is how Nolan and Chen get the call. It just like starts off with them riding together, which I thought was kind of just easier to do it that way, because like last episode we had like the moment where Tim was like, I'm gonna ride with Aaron, like you're gonna ride
Yeah.
with Nolan or whatever. Yeah. So that was just easier. They're kind of just driving along. They're discussing how it's Bailey's Army Reserve week. And so John's essentially like a bachelor for the week. Cue the cringy, sort of, not as bad.
No, it wasn't as bad,
Yeah.
but we still didn't need it.
Yeah.
So
Of really things, that John hasn't seen since he's been, doing laundry over the last few days. And Lucy's kind of like, as she's listening to all of this, realizing that like, so you guys have essentially moved in together. And he's like, no, I wouldn't say that. And then he like pause, thinks for a minute, and he's like, oh my God, wait, did we actually move in together? Did we accidentally? And I'm just like, this is what I said. Didn't I say this like a couple episodes ago? I'm like, they already kind of moved in together. Like it's their apartment or their house rather. Like it's not like,
I mean,
how
she
did
was
they
like
not-
decorating his Christmas tree. Like
yeah.
that's, I mean, yeah, that's more than just like, oh, I'm just gonna like stay over for the night. No, like you're basically
Yeah.
living there.
Yeah, like I was like, how did they not?
Well, and if he's like doing laundry and like sees frilly things, I don't know. I literally just like cringe. If he's doing laundry and sees that, like it's obvious that they're living together. Like you can't even sugarcoat that anymore, John. Like you're living together. I mean, her things are like all over. No, you're living together. Don't be chicken about it, John Nolan.
Yeah. Well, because he was, it was only, well, okay, now it's been a little bit since he was gonna do the, almost proposal. But still, it's like they're in
Oh my
a
god, I
serious
forgot about that. Oh my
That's
god.
great. That's great. But yeah, so it's like, they're in a good place, and apparently, taking this next step that John wasn't even aware of. But yeah, so they're like, their conversation's interrupted a little bit when they get the call about the suspicious activity near Griffith Park. So they go to check it out. I like though how as they were walking up, Lucy, was like just commenting that like she was glad that they're in a good place, and John's like, what's that saying? If you can survive a like secret marriage, you can survive anything. I'm like, sure, let's go with that.
Yeah. I kind of want to rewatch season 4 just to see all the cringy like Bela moments, because like when we first got the ship, like we didn't think it would be like so cringy, and it's just like cringy moment after another. Maybe that's because like I'm hardcore Chenford and Lopez and Nyla and James, but like I don't know. I kind of want to like go back and rewatch it, and yet I'm like, I could save myself so much cringing if I don't do that though.
I mean, yeah, it's a little like now it's a little bit like, I don't really, but like I just thought they were like kind of humorous at the beginning. Not that they're not now,
Yeah.
but it's just like because they never had a normal date. I mean, they still haven't had a normal date, but just like,
Yeah.
that was like funny. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, like it wasn't awkward. It was just funny.
Yeah. I also feel like it's very fitting for John to not really realize that like they moved in together and like took that step in their relationship. He's just like, oh yeah, that did happen. Like we have kind of done that. I don't know. I feel like it's just fitting for John Nolan. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So they go into the power plant. They don't really make it that far though, because Nolan discovers the timer, tells Lucy to run. They literally both like get out just in the nick of time before it explodes. And then it like technically like it exploded again, like as they're on the ground, because they both like shielded themselves again. Like I
Yeah.
was just like, wow, okay. Um so yeah, that was the cold open, I guess. So after the title card, we didn't get the theme song this time again. I just
No.
realized.
And for some reason I thought that the title card would be like different. Like you know how they've done like black and white or like different colors. I don't know. I was just kind of like, I feel like this is a big enough event to where they would do that.
I
But
kind of thought it'd be like an orange and yellow like ombre,
yeah,
because they did like the orange and yellow in like the
promo
what's the word I'm looking
posters.
for? Yeah, that the thing like with the with Niecy and Nathan
Yeah.
like back to back, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyone actually listens to this that can do that, like make the title like that'd be cool. I don't know. I'm just thinking like yellow and orange or like a red or
I
something
mean, like what they have now is just like a gradient,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the palm trees.
Yeah. It's just different colors. I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway, wow, we're getting off to a great start already. Um, okay, so
We aren't
after
even like off
I
of
know
page one of this.
we're not. It's mostly my fault. It's fine.
And mine. It's fine. Team
Um,
effort here.
um, so after the title card, we cut to John and Lucy are being taken care of by the paramedics. I didn't actually notice that like Lucy looked over at Tim like when he came by. I didn't catch that on my first watch. I just saw it like when I was rewatching for this. But I did catch the like once over that he gave her, which was a nice like Chenford crumb. I never know if those things are in the script though, or if that's just like, subtle work
I feel
that
like
Eric and Melissa put in.
I feel like the looks that they give aren't always in the script. Like that once over, I feel like wasn't.
Yeah.
But
don't know, because I didn't even someone had gifted, I think, on Tumblr, and that's how I saw. Like, I didn't really catch the like, I mean, because I knew the camera like lingered on his face, but I was just kind of, because he had like spoke beforehand, so I was like, I didn't really, I was processing what he said, not the look he was giving
yeah,
right away.
I just want to know all of the Chenford things that are and are not in the script.
Yeah.
Like, I just want them listed out, please, because that would just make things so much better.
Yeah, it would. So the feds show up. Sergeant Gray actually knows Matthew Garza already, but Gray does not know Agent Casey Fox. So she's introduced, and like everyone's introduced to each other, I guess I should say. The FBI had been hearing rumors of an impending terror attack, but now it's actually happened. The person or persons responsible have right now just knocked out power to the valley. And so the FBI's like, wow, I can't speak. The FBI says that they are going to just like take it over because, like, you know, they got this or whatever. But Gray's like, no. 2 of my officers nearly got killed because of this bomb. Like, we want to work it together. So Garza says that they will set up a joint task force. The first thing they want to do, though, is talk to everyone who called in, like, the 911. I liked that Nyla and Angela were paired up again. And they are the ones that are paying a visit to Professor Meadows, who called about an intruder in his home. He said that someone was in his bedroom. He actually ended up like sketching this suspect, and he said that he was an alien. Angela was like, you could tell that he was undocumented, and the professor was like, no, an alien as in an extraterrestrial.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently this alien stole his research on Los Angeles's traffic patterns. And like, I just love the looks between Nyla and Angela, though. Like, they really did not know what to think of this call. Like, they were like, okay. And just kind of like waiting for something else to like happen. But like, no, like that was it for right now anyway. On their call, and it cuts back over. So like, we're back at the station. The witnesses from the park are giving a description of the suspect to Garza and Gray. White 30s, scar on his face, and a Russian accent. And Lucy and John are watching in the observation room when Tim and Casey come in and say that they pulled prints off a piece of the explosive. And they come back to an Ezekiel Fremont, who is a young Black teenager, aka not a white Russian male in his 30s. So like, this whole thing that they like, you know, there's kind of like 2 narratives going on here, and it's like, okay, one is not, you know, like, it's not matching up. So obviously they are going with what they know, like with the fingerprints. So the LAPD and the FBI agents break down Zeke's door, but he's not there. Casey does find out, however, that his high school guidance counselor, Simone Clark, is now a trainee at the FBI in Quantico. So, cue the appropriate introduction to Simone. I just thought it was so fitting because, like, Niecy Nash, like, I've seen her in so many other shows where she like does like guest star or like recurring character roles, where she's just like, it's, I don't know how to explain it, like outrageous, but she just does it in such a way that it works. And like, I feel like that's what this kind of was. Because her character is taking a course, like a driving lesson with an instructor, and her methods literally like send the car in like spinning out like crazy speed. They're certainly wild and unorthodox. She technically got the job done. Um, and I love how the instructor like got when they got out of the car is like, where did you learn to drive like that? And apparently she taught driver's ed at Claiborne High School in Washington, D.C. That's where she was also the guidance counselor. And if that wasn't like kind of a hodgepodge of a like, description enough, she also coached the wrestling team there to practice her hand-to-hand combat skills. Um, and the instructor is like busy reprimanding her, right? And he's like, okay, well, you're either FBI material or not, because there's like a certain way that they do things, and her way is not that. Cue the FBI helicopter. Agent comes out and is like, yeah, you're gonna come to LA now because we need your help with something. She's like,
Perfect
okay.
timing.
Yeah.
Perfect
Great.
timing, because the helicopter just always appears when you need like out of a situation.
Yep. Great. Absolutely great. And then of course, so she's in LA. She makes an entrance that really, honestly, only Niecy Nash can like do it, and she just does comedy like so well.
Yeah.
Because
And
she's trying to
sass.
yeah, she really does. Yeah, she's so sassy. She's like opening the door, can't get the door open, finally gets the door. She's like, okay, I'm just gonna, go over here. Okay. But like side note though, I can't like get over the fact that she's like, oh, excuse me, handsome. And I'm like, ma'am, Tim is right there. That is the wrong man. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fine. Nolan is fine, but just like Tim Bradford is right there.
I mean, mood.
I can't.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, though, like, I know that Smithy wasn't a part of this episode. It would have kind of been like a little odd, I guess, if he was. But if she had said that to him, he would have had some comeback. Oh my God, imagine that. Imagine their
God.
interaction.
Wow. Yeah, because they
Now
would
I
just
need
try to
it.
one up each other.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That'd be
And then she
wild
would
for
probably
sure.
just like charm the pants off of him.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What is it? Charm and disarm? Isn't that her like
Uh-huh.
tactic? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I just like how she like speaks her mind. She still speaks out of turn, yeah, but like she doesn't really like bite her tongue, which I appreciate about her character. Because like as the profiler's speaking, and Garza's like trying to kind of fill in the blanks. She's like shaking her head. She's like, no, 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 like this isn't right. Which makes everyone kind of pause. And I can't speak. This is absolutely terrible. Okay, I'm gonna try that again. She shares that Zeke has like sensory overload issues. He's not this like, like raging like terrorist kid that they're like trying to profile him as. He like when the whole world was like imploding, he, wanted to go somewhere where he felt safe, and he feels safest like underground, somewhere where it's dark, quiet. But like Agent Garza, the profiler, like everyone else in the room is kind of like dismissing her notion, except for Nolan, because like Garza's ready to send her home. Like he's like, okay, you can go back to Quantico now. Like, we don't like thank you for your help. Like sort of like a thanks but no thanks. Like
Yeah.
But Nolan, being Nolan, stays behind and says how, she was brave to speak up in there. He really listens to what she has to say, and he thinks that she's like the only real expert in the situation. So he invites her to ride with him for the rest of the shift to see if they can find Zeke. I liked how they traded life stories. We saw part of this in the sneak peek, where, John's the oldest rookie, Simone is the oldest trainee. I thought it was nice that we got the reminder to like the pilot episode, because it had been so long since I've seen the actual, like just the first episode of the rookie. Not that I forgot about the bank robbery part, but I just, it was like because Nolan's so much like a a cop now. It's like I kind of forgot there was a civilian Pennsylvanian Nolan.
Yeah. Well, and like not only did we get introduced to just one rookie, but like three, like all in one episode. So, and the rest of the characters. I mean, we got that with this episode too, but like I definitely feel like a lot of the focus was on Simone, which I mean, the episode was named after her. The spinoff is supposed to be about her, but like we didn't really get to learn a lot about like Garza or Kate, like Agent Fox or anything, which I don't know. Part of me is like backdoor pilots, like they usually cut the others, like that aren't like if this gets picked up into a spinoff, like they'll keep Niecy Nash, but like will they keep Kat Foster and all of them? Like, or will they like replace them? I don't know. Like backdoor pilots have a way of doing that. Like they'll keep one or two of like the main characters, or maybe even three, but like not everyone else gets to stay. So I don't know. Just a observation.
Yeah. Apparently Simone always knew she wanted to be an FBI agent, but she got sidelined when she was pregnant with her twins. But now, since her kids are all grown up, she's ready to finish what she started. And Nolan said, kind of what she, lacks in trying to keep up with, 20 somethings, she makes up for in experience, which I don't know, because like it was a slightly different way to kind of bring the age thing back around, that like that's always the theme with Nolan. As is giving advice. So I guess that kind of wraps both those in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean it's true because they both have life experience that I think gives them unique perspectives, and like I don't know, it just like, the FBI really should have like listened to her like right off the bat. Like they called her in. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
they like called her in. Yeah, why not listen to her and like think about her like her thought like
because she even said, she was like, and I got, she's like, I have mad respect for you, even if you don't, like see what she as a guidance counselor like can bring to the table. Like, so she was even saying, like calling them out a little bit and being like, hey, I am gonna like, treat you better than you're treating me, essentially. And I'm like, okay, this woman like knows how to like command attention, and like she knows what she's saying. She's obviously intelligent. Like, don't like, I just felt like they were like so quick to be like, oh, okay, she spoke like once at a turn. Of course, what was it? The driving instructor literally said that the what's his name? The person that like found J. Edgar Hoover, like, fired an agent for, having acne or whatever. So like it is very, very regimented and strict for a reason, but it's like they could have just saved some time, but at least John took a chance and listened to her.
John always sees the best in people.
He does, which is kind of why I was a little surprised that he was like, okay, you're gonna stay in the car now. Like when they pulled up to the thing, I was like, dude, you literally like told her that she could like come on the rest of the ship. Like, she knows this kid, like never going to like hurt. But he was still like, no, okay, I got it. Like, I'm just gonna go check it out. He goes to check out the tunnel closest to Zeke's apartment. When John doesn't get him, Simone does by borrowing, quote unquote, the shop. And I don't want to say like hit him with the car door, because she didn't like, like full on like push the thing out or whatever, but just like a light little like kind of, it was like a stop with the door. And I just enjoyed her, I borrowed it to catch a fleeing suspect. You're welcome.
Yeah.
and Zeke recognizes Simone and like pleads with her not to let him kill him. And she's like, what man? Like, who are you talking about? And that's kind of where it like well, it cuts off like that scene anyway. Cut to this scene was so creepy. It was so creepy, the scene that they cut over to next.
Yeah.
It cuts over to their like the actual suspect who's seen in an apartment. There's muffled noises. There's another man duct taped and trapped in a cage while the terrorist is looking over LA traffic maps with like little pins in them and like is, you know, like very just like, and it like, you know, it stops on his face. So we get a close up of the suspect. We get like kind of a,
It's ominous.
yeah, it is. And it's so creepy.
But like honestly, the actor who played the suspect did
Yeah.
it so well. He played the creepy guy so well.
Yeah. And we knew him well,
It's not a creepy guy.
no, yeah. I was gonna say I was like Yuri Sardarov played what was his full
Brian
Otis,
Zavanachek.
right? Yeah, Brian Zvanacek on Chicago Fire for 8 seasons. Right?
They're in 10 now. I always
right?
lose track.
I think it was season 8.
Yeah.
Because I think it was season 8 premiere that he we lost him on Fire, I think.
And it still hurts.
Pretty sure. Yeah. So and like his character on
From
Fire
2012
was,
to 2019.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 7 years. Yeah. But just like he was like the kind of more like geeky kind of, you know, like soft spoken, very like
Fun
just
loving.
nice guy,
Yeah.
character on that show. And so just like seeing that close up, it like all clicked in my head and I was like, wait, was that who I think it was? I was like, whoa. Because he also had a like full, well, like mustache and usually a beard grown out on Chicago Fire as well, and he did not have that in this at all.
Well, like his short hair, because Otis like usually have longer hair.
Yeah.
It was a good way to like. I didn't see him as Otis
No, I didn't either.
because of the mustache being gone. Like, you know, I was able to like break him apart from Otis in Fire. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. But still, it was like what, like mind blown. Like I was still, I had to stay on that fact for a good few minutes, like during the commercial, because it like cut to the commercial or whatever, and I was like, whoa. I was like, oh my gosh, I was just mind blown.
Well, and like we've gotten lucky this year because we've had 2 people from One Chicago on The Rookie. Like Roland Buck III was on Poetic Justice.
Yep.
And then Yuri was on this one and is on next week too. So yeah.
Yep.
It's just fun. It's fun when like people from other shows that like you watch, whether they're new, old, currently airing, whatever, like they kind of come over and play with these characters.
Yeah. We're still waiting. I would literally pay all the money in the world still for a PD Rookie
Literally
thing.
I would give anything. Like if they need an organ, I'm there. Like I'll give it.
Yeah, like I will donate. Like I will give them all the things possible that they could possibly need to like bring this to fruition.
Yeah.
It happens so badly. But I will take what I can get if it's, you know, old actors from the One Chicago universe. That's fine too.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you know, like Makia was on Med for a few years there too, and so now she's doing this, and so killing it doing this. So
yep.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I digress once again. This is great. It's going so well for me. So we're back at the station. Simone and Nolan are with Gray and the agents Garza and Fox come in. They're like already like quick to dismiss Simone, even though Gray is like trying to say that like given her relationship with Zeke, that she could be the one that talks to him. They're like, no, we've got it from here because she's nowhere near qualified to conduct the interview. I'm like, rude. Like she's standing right there. I was like, what the heck?
I hated how everyone kept dismissing her. Like even Agent Fox later on in the episode. And I was like, you guys literally asked her to come here.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't even give her a chance. Like,
Yeah.
it just, but I did like how she wasn't giving up and how she was like, I'm not going anywhere. Like,
Yeah. Her determination was
Mhm.
definitely something like admirable. And like I said though, I think just like Niecy just like does it so well. Like she has these like really confident moments, but then is able to kind of, you know, like rein it back a little bit and be like, okay, here I'm gonna be like vulnerable. Here I'm gonna play this a little bit, you know,
yeah.
more serious, or like, you know, because she puts all the pieces together, you know, like, and I feel like that was really cool to see in this episode because it like lays the framework for the possible, you know, like spin-off series. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So Simone's walking out with John. This is where we hear she actually grew up in LA. I loved how John like always like asked about people's like families. Like he's just so like such a dad and like
Yeah.
so just, you know, like family oriented. And she's like, well, no, none that would want to see me right now. And it's then that Casey comes out and tells Simone to come back because Zeke will only talk to her. So there you go. That is her way back in. So Simone goes in, John goes too, and apparently we learn that like kind of how Simone like was as a counselor, because like Zeke would go in to her office every day at school because he needed help like transitioning from like the chaos of his home life, and they would just sit and have like this quiet time, and it was always like really like soothing for him and just something that really really helped him. And then she got him, which I thought was nice, like, you know, MP3 player to like play music on, and like so he had that as a tool. And so she just like really connects with like with kids, but then I also feel like she just really tries to make connections with people, and like I feel like she did that with John too. Like she really, you know, like they really help each other.
Well, and she did that with the professor later on in the episode too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is very much how like Nolan is too. So it's no wonder they're, you know, like they're paired up, and like they're similar in how they are with people as well as their age, because as Simone pointed out earlier, she's not 50, she's only 48.
Yeah.
So, which technically, wait a second, hold on, didn't we get in canon that John is 46?
Wasn't he 45 when the show started, or no?
Yeah. Didn't he say that he's 46? Because Skip Tracer Randy did the thing, and he like ran down John's list or whatever the hell.
46 or
It was
47?
46, yeah.
But I think so.
It just
Because
makes
the
me
rookie
wonder.
timeline is all screwed up anyway, so that's the only way that we know like his
I
age.
want to know something really quick. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked by looking up people's actual ages. Hold the phone. Oh, okay. I did not know that Niecy Nash is actually 1 year older than Nathan Fillion. So there you go.
Really? Yeah. Didn't know that.
Because I was like, oh, okay, that's like fun. Like, I don't know. That's like fun that she, you know, like 48 or whatever. And then like he's 46. So like,
yeah.
Cool. In the show anyway. Again, another tangent. My apologies. So Zeke like insists that he doesn't know who the man is. But he paid him to build 6 different detonators, and he paid him on the dark web. He was using his engineering skills because he like desperately needed money. And like obviously Zeke is smart too, so it's like I feel like kind of people were like underestimating like Zeke too in a way, like not giving him like enough credit to like, try to talk to him, and like, but Simone got through to him. So obviously like that proves that she can like do the job
Yeah.
well. Because like obviously Zeke is smart because he's the one that like put the like knows how to program these things and like
Right.
uses his skills to like make them. Because there's one regular and then there's 5 with the GPS triggers that like go off when they reach a set of coordinates. Zeke insists that he doesn't know what the coordinates are, but he did tell the man how to program them into the detonators. And he defends doing that because the suspect said that he was a research scientist and this was for like an important, project. Z kind of knew that it didn't sound right, but he was desperate for money. And by the time of the like exchange, he knew that something was up, but it was too late. The guy got the detonators and actually tried to shoot Zeke, and so that's why he ran and hid. He doesn't actually know anything else like about the like suspect. He's just sorry that he let Simone down. I feel bad for the kid. I'm just like, I hope that he doesn't have to take like a full, I don't know though, because then he was being led away though in the next scene, like by the other agents, and like Simone doesn't really think that he knew about this whole like plot, and she wants to get him a lawyer because she will always have her students' backs, like no matter what, even after they graduate. So I don't know. And you know what else I'm just realizing though? Does Yuri's character even have a name?
He does, yeah. It's shared closer to the end
Okay.
of the episode, yeah.
Because I've just been calling him this guy or the suspect, and I'm like, what is his name?
They say his name is Trevor Gurin. Like that's the name that he's going by, at least. So who knows?
I was
if
gonna
it's
say, I was
real
like,
or
yeah,
not.
that's the name that he like rented the thing under. But I
Yeah.
didn't know if that was his actual name. Okay.
But like on IMDb, it's listed as that. So I'm
Oh,
assuming
really?
that's his
Okay.
real name. Yeah.
I just didn't know if he was like, going like it's like I don't know, just like the Russian or something. Like I don't know. I'm so bad. It sounds bad, but just like I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
know. Okay, but anyway, so that is kind of halfway through the episode.
Yeah. So then they all figure out that one of the coordinates is the National Guard Armory. So, the team's in pursuit. Lucy's driving, Tim's over the radio. John is by himself. Bailey's even on the scene with her team and says the armorer chief isn't answering his radio. So that's a little sus. And they enter the cage after finding the door like slightly open. And they find the armorer chief. And so then Bailey calls to John over the radio, telling him that the suspect's there or was there, and like then she runs out and they see that one of the Humvees is driving away. So obviously they don't know who's driving it; they just think that it's the suspect. So John and the rest of the team don't make it there. Obviously, they end up seeing the Humvee and meeting up with it. Like not far from the armory. So they start chasing it. And John's like, well, we need to stop him. At which point I'm like, well, duh. Like, obviously you do. I'm just gonna let it like keep going. But Tim's like, it's a mini tank, like it's bomb proof, bulletproof, and our shops can't pit maneuver it. So we'll just have to wait for the Bearcat. And John's just like, well, what about boxing in the Humvees? And Lucy's like, well, no time like the present to find out. And we get another Chenford look. Like we got a few during this scene, but this one was like the most like noticeable one. So
because
then,
it's like the camera let it actually,
yeah,
see like both, like zoomed out a little bit. We got both their lovely faces. So
yeah. So then Tim's like calling out directions. John's supposed to take the left, they're taking the right, and they have to hit him in unison. So Tim's like, aim for the doors, not the wheels. And Lucy's like, why? What'll happen if I hit the wheels? And Tim's like, we'll die and you'll forever be known as the LAPD cautionary tale. And Lucy's like, great, proving my mother right, as always. Like, And then she says, wait, I'll be the cautionary tale? No way. If this goes bad, we'll both be disgraced together. Like, she basically just said, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. Like, that's it. We're in this together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we weren't entirely sure of like the whole reasoning why like they can't hit the wheels. I mean, those wheels on Humvees are huge. So it wouldn't be pretty anyway, I'm sure. But we asked one of our listeners, Valerie, and she told us that they're actually called run flats. So even if they went flat, they can still be driven on. Something like spike strips wouldn't have done anything. So running into the sides wouldn't do anything either, especially if the Humvee was armored, which adds weight. Which I mean makes sense, like because the Humvee is used when they're like out in the battlefield. So,
Yeah. Well, and like I was like reading up on it, like just because I know absolutely nothing. Well, I know nothing about any vehicles, like at all.
Yeah.
I'm really, really bad with all that. But just like I was reading up and it said like apparently like they're like the differentials that they have on those like allow for movement as long as at least one of the wheels is traction. And like
Yeah.
I'm thinking as like, like since not all cars have like all-wheel drive, so it's like some of those can like spin out. And so it's like I'm kind of thinking that since like well, any vehicle can be like prone to rolling.
I was gonna
Like
say even an all-wheel drive can
yeah,
have like,
can
spinning out
spin out and
or
roll,
yeah.
But I'm just kind of thinking like, okay, if they like hit it, then like if there's any like weaponry or anything on board, like the
Like it's
Humvee, then
gonna go
it's like,
off. Yeah.
big explosion. I just made the thing. I need to stop making gestures as if people are actually going to see this. No one cares. I'm done.
Yeah, so they get the Humvee stopped. They find out that it's not their suspect. It's actually was it the guy that was at like the gate?
Yeah, it's the
Okay. The
husband, right?
husband of the
Husband of
abducted guy.
yes.
Yeah. I just couldn't remember if he was at the gate or
It
not.
was so dark.
So
I was lucky I was able to see like who was doing what, or like I barely like was
yeah.
able to make out like because Bailey had the cap on too, and I was like, if Jenna Dewan was not actually speaking, I wouldn't have even known that she was like
They did a lot of night scenes for this
yeah,
episode.
really
They
did. Oh
did.
my God.
So then Simone, like, we go over to Simone. She shows up at her dad's front door and he's like, why are you in LA? Like, he's confused. And so then he asks her if she's still in the FBI. And when she says, well, technically, I'm a trainee, he shuts the door on her. He opens the door back up, asks if her grandkids are fine. And once he gets his answer, the door is shut again. And Simone's just like out there, neighbors walking by, and she's like, "This is embarrassing. Like, let me in."
Yeah, he's
Um,
like, open the damn door. I'm like, whole mood,
yeah.
whole mood.
So then we learn that he is a leader. Uh, he is or was. It wasn't totally confirmed, like the tense, but he is a leader in the defund the police movement, and has a daughter in the FBI. So it was embarrassing for him. So he goes to close the door again, but Simone stops him and she's like, I need your help to clear Zeke's name from the domestic terror plot that he's a suspect of. And she's like, I only trust you to help me get him a lawyer that will actually care. Um, so we don't get much more on that, like, because it cuts back over to the Humvee situation. And they find out that the driver's husband was abducted by the suspect. So, he threatened to kill the guard's husband if he didn't do exactly what the suspect said. So, when asked to describe him, he says, he was Russian, or at least by his accent with a scar on his face. And Bailey's like, okay, what did he steal from the armory? And we find out that he took 200 kilos of C4 explosives. So cool.
Not
I
that it was
mean,
like, yeah.
no
I
big
mean, that was
deal.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know why. It didn't like bother me. But Bailey was just like, what did they take from my armory? I was like,
Yeah.
is that like is the National Guard? Like you are one person in this whole
Right.
organization. Um,
Right.
I don't know. I just thought that was like interesting. So I was like, wait, I was like, there are other people around, right? Like it's not just her that's
Yeah.
standing there. Like I don't know. I just thought that was
Well, and I thought she
an
was
odd phrase.
Army. Like National Guard is different than the Army. Like they're in different branches.
Oh, is it? See, I don't know.
Yeah.
I am not a
Like because you have the Army,
familiar.
you have the Navy, you have the Marines, and then
Mhm.
National Guard. National Guard is always called out like when there's like a state of emergency.
Yeah.
But
Well, and then
yeah.
their Air Force, is that something different?
Yep. Air Force, yeah.
I know like the branches of like military branches, but I don't I don't know what any outside of my purview.
Yeah. I only know like the basics, so
We're
yeah,
learning.
so then we see Simone. So this is where I was kind of like, okay, can we just stick to like one storyline for like a
Yeah.
little bit here? Because
I
then
was
like we
gonna
go
say
back over to Simone. She's cooking dinner for her dad, and she's like, you know, we used to be so close, and he's like, well, that's on you. Again, blaming her.
yeah.
Like, I did not like this for her.
Yeah.
So then it turns out she joined the feds after everything that he went through at the hands of law enforcement. We find out that he was incarcerated for a crime that he didn't commit, leaving him to be away from Simone and her mom. And so he's like, I'll find a lawyer for Zeke, but you know, he tells her that she's on the wrong side of this trouble. And she points out that it was an FBI investigation that got him exonerated, and a good agent can make more positive change with one case than most people do in a lifetime. And he just wants to know the real reason why she's doing this. And she, you know, like gives a speech about, you know, how like they make up less than 1%. And I can't do it justice.
Come on, give me a real reason why you are doing this.
Because we make up less than 1%. Black women make up less than 1% of the FBI. Speeches at rallies only do so much. If we want real justice, we need a voice on the inside.
And so then her dad says that, you know, once she's in the FBI, they'll change her, but you know, he comes around when he hears that she might be kicked out, just because she's not like doing as well as she thought, and as well as the FBI wants her to do. So then, you know, he's just like, just keep working at it. Like, no one's gonna tell you that you should quit. And so she's like a little taken back by that, but she's also just like, he's finally coming around to me, like, you know, being in the FBI. So then we go back to the district where Nolan and Chenford are looking at a bunch of monitors, and Nolan directs this at Chen, and he's like, did you get any sleep the night before? And we get Chenford banter, which we'll insert because it's just too good not to. And like, honestly, it's the best thing I think I've heard in a while. So
You get any sleep?
No, but Sleeping Beauty here got an hour in the back of the shop.
Sergeant stripes come with privileges. Don't be jealous.
yeah, so then after the little banter moment, Lucy just like, she rolls her eyes, smiles, and goes and sits down. And like she almost kind of like shakes her head too a little bit. And this point I'm like, oh my God, in all caps, like be louder with your love for each other, Jennifer. Like at this point, I mean, it's like, how has Nolan not realized that? Like, I mean, he was standing right in the middle of them.
Yeah, he's looking back and forth like very, very subtly between them as they're doing the whole exchange. And I'm just like,
But also, like, he didn't really realize that Bailey had kind of like moved in. So, like, I don't know, he's not totally like, yeah. But I mean, Nolan, like, you're standing in the middle of them. You've heard Lucy talk about Tim and how much he annoys her. Like, come on, dude. You're a cop here. Like, you know, you can put the evidence all together here. Yeah, so because Tim's just like, well, just perks of being a sergeant. And I'm like, is it though? Like, are you supposed to be asleep on the job, even if it is just for an hour? I mean, I guess, but like,
I literally just don't, because like,
I also just know that Lucy like put up a fight with it or something. Like, she obviously gave him sass. Right.
I'm a short person, so I don't know the struggles of being tall. I will never know the struggles of being tall. But how are you supposed to like sleep
In a
in
car.
yeah, like in the back, like
I don't know about in the back. I've done it before in the passenger seat. I mean,
I
it
mean, I've
wasn't
slept
like
in the back of my car before.
yeah,
I have, but I'm short.
yeah. I mean, it
I'm
wasn't
not
like
6 feet tall.
it wasn't like uncomfortable. I mean, it kind of was like I had the seat all the way back, and I'm short too. But like
I
I
just
couldn't
don't
like
know how
stretch
it
my
feels
legs
like
out
that.
or anything. But yeah, I couldn't imagine like
Mhm.
being tall.
Of course, we didn't get the darn scene anyway. Another scene
I
that they
know.
speak of that we don't actually see, just like with Gerald the goat.
It's a
So
shame. We
yeah.
on it like I would have taken that over the Chen and Nolan like writing together, talking about frilly things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone would have,
That just
honestly.
would have been fun though too, because it would just be like, Eric got to like pretend to be asleep for
Yeah.
a scene. Like
Oh
that'd
my
be
God.
funny.
And then today, Monday, when we're recording this, the rookie rewatch ladies put out a Twitter thread about Tim Bradford as the Disney princesses. And the first one was Sleeping Beauty because of that comment that Lucy
Yeah.
made.
It was so good.
It is the best thread ever. If you have not seen it, you need to go and look them up. Rewatch underscore rookie.
Mhm.
It's too good. Like they like make comparisons to a lot of different princesses, like Anna and Elsa, like Mulan. Mulan was in there, Pocahontas,
That
like
made me laugh the most. Are you kidding? Oh my
yeah.
god.
Oh
The
my God, it
Mulan
was
one.
so
Yeah.
good. So good. So yeah, so then Gray comes in with Garza, who's got an update, and he's like, this is a whole new ball game. And the amount of explosives stolen sent shockwaves through DC overnight. So Homeland Security is getting involved along with ATF, which means it's no longer a joint task force and it's completely federal. But Tim's like, no, LAPD has worked our butts off and we're staying on. And it's just like Sergeant Tim Bradford things. Like, no big deal. This man just stays like commanding
Yeah.
the room and the team.
And he just like leveled them with a look too. It was just like
Uh-huh.
intense, stare
Yeah.
down. But like he was still, like, oh yeah, just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So then Garza is like, well, my hands are tied because the terrorists got away with over 200 kilos of C4. So that kind of changes things. And Gray's just like, whoa, are you blaming my people for that? Like, Gray and Tim standing up to Garza, I was like, go off, guys, go off, please. And so then Nolan just like steps in because of course he does. And he's like, I think we're all like running on low sleep. And I'm like, Nolan, just
Yeah.
this is an A and B conversation. Can you like see yourself out of it in a way? Like I like Nolan, but
Wait,
I
is
was
that
like,
like a joke that people say? I've never heard that before.
you've never heard
That's
that? Oh my
the
God.
funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh
My
my god.
brother and sister used to like we used to like roast each other with that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard that.
I
Oh
don't
my
even know
god.
where like my brother and sister heard of it. They started using
That's
it
so
first.
funny. Well, because like even I noticed like Lucy was a little worried, like her expression was
Uh-huh.
like worrisome in the background.
But like, of
Um,
course, Nolan like was gonna stand up and say something about it. Like at this point, you already had Gray and Tim like going up against Garza. Like Nolan, sit down. You don't need to do that too. Like
That's
you're already a cop. Like you don't have to like prove yourself here. I don't know. So
Same
then,
with like the Chenford banter though, because like Nolan could have just like stepped to the side and then they would have
yeah,
been standing
honestly,
next to each other.
I mean, Nolan added like nothing to the banter besides asking, "Did you get some sleep last night?" And even then, I don't know. I mean, Nolan and Lucy are good friends.
Yeah.
But to me, I was just like, I don't know if you needed to ask that, but okay, whatever. Yeah. So then, yeah, so Gray's like, well, we're investigators and we're not stepping down. So they go into Gray's office to talk in private. And Nyla walks up to Angela's desk because we see Nyla kind of like walking by and she's like looking into the room, like, I don't know what's going on in there, but I'm glad that I'm out of it. And so Nyla's like, well, there's a problem. And she says that TID pulled partial prints from the professor's rear door, the one that the aliens jimmied open. And Nyla ran the prints, but they came back classified. So Nyla called her friend at the DEA who has a top secret clearance and asked her to run the prints too, and she was denied access too. So like this is sending like red alerts. Like they're just questioning like who their suspect is now and like why they're so top secret. So Simone's watching Guards on Gray like hash things out, and Agent Fox comes up to her and she's like, why are you still in LA? And Simone's just like, we both know that as soon as I get back to the academy, like they'll find a reason to fire me. And so LA for the time being is the only place that she can prove where she belongs. So Agent Fox tells her, it's not going to happen because she's still a trainee. But Simone points out that, the question like that haven't all of her contributions earned her a place on this task force. And Fox is like, yeah, I agree, but as an AT, which I'm assuming is National Academy trainee, I could be wrong.
I would assume.
Who can't follow orders, like has no place in the FBI. And so Simone's like, well, so she starts to share like a little bit about her backstory, and Fox just stops her because she's obviously read her file. And Simone's like, well, she talks a little bit more about her dad, and how he gave up on his dreams. And Fox is like, let me guess, that's not going to be you. And Simone's like, you're finally like getting to know me a little bit or something like that. And so then Agent Fox is, she tells Simone something that she wishes she had heard when she was starting off, and that the FBI isn't a safe space for women's empowerment. It's a boys club, and Simone still has a chance to make it, but all she has to do is fit in by hiding who she really is. And Simone's like, well, that's not going to happen. Like, I've learned in life to be true to who I am. And so that means that she's waiting for Garza. So Simone like oversees Nyla and Angela talking after Fox walks away. And they're talking to the professor, who now thinks that the LAPD is working with the aliens. And Nyla and Angela still are not believing the whole thing, but the professor is dead set on it. So they're trying to reason with him. And, the professor calls them WIBs, and Angela's like, what is that? And Simone's just like, he just called you guys women in black. And she asks to speak to Angela and Nyla, and says, he's having a clinical delusion and unable to process logic. So by Angela challenging him, it's only pushing him further towards his beliefs. And by Nyla playing along, that's just making him think that his delusions are real. So Nyla's like, and who are you? Like a psychiatrist? Like, we've never seen you around here. And so we learn just a little bit more about what Simone has dealt with when she was a guidance counselor. So she's like, let me talk to him. I can charm and disarm him. That's kind of my strategy. And, it might bring him back to reality. So they're like, at this point, go for it. Like, we need all the help we can get. So she takes the professor to more of a private area. And, she talks to him wondering why, like, he's the only person who saw this happen. And, the professor's like, well, he reeked of chocolate and blood. And, he's a shapeshifter. Like, he can take on many forms. Like, and he's, the professor's even like a white man in his 30s. And Simone, she becomes more intrigued, just wanting to know more. And the professor's like, he spoke Russian, or at least had an accent. And so Simone's kind of connecting the dots because they know that part from the other parts of the case. So Simone asks the man if the man had a scar on his face, and the professor pretty much confirms it. And Simone's like, I'll be right back. So she goes to talk to Angela, get a bolo of or get a sketch of the suspect. And it's hard confirmation that this person is the one who attacked the professor. So we know that the suspect had Zeke build the detonators. Like, he probably just found the kid on the street or something. How did he know that the professor had the maps, though? Like, the road maps, the traffic maps of LA. Like, did he know
Well,
him from like school, work, something? Like
I'm
he had to
assuming
have known.
I realized that I didn't put this is why I hate my computer, okay? It didn't save all of my notes, so I like didn't say a part that I was probably supposed to say that would have been helpful. Because like the guy was like a leader in urban planning. So like he like oversaw like LA, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure his name like well, okay, like before he because he also invented microdosing for LSD, so he fried his brain. So he's not much help anymore.
Hmm.
But I'm assuming prior to that, he was like a well known like urban planner or like in
Yeah.
development or in so like I'm assuming anyway that his name was like everywhere
It had
or
to have been that, or
yeah
like
because I
this.
don't know.
The suspect like knew him,
Yeah.
not personally, but knew of him, something
Yeah.
like
Well,
that.
because like
Because
professor, I mean, like if he really was like a professor, usually there's like a directory, at least in
right.
most universities. I don't know about California universities, but
Because I mean, like,
usually there's something
'cause I mean,
listed.
you don't just get lucky and like find someone who has traffic maps of Los Angeles. Like, he had to have known him in some way. Um,
Maybe we'll get more on that next week, like how we kind
yeah,
of put that together. Because like I also want to know how in the world he recruited the people at the very end too.
yeah,
Because it's like I mean I know he like used the name or whatever, but
right.
like I just want to know like how did he get people to buy into this, you know? Like how is he
Right.
just so convincing?
Well, and like if the professor is well known or was at some point, like the internet's around, people could have looked
Yeah.
up him
Like
and been like, that is not this
like how did
professor.
they not know what he looked like? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
I understand like how he, I mean, he needed the
Yeah.
explosives, so he knew where exactly to go for that. The
Yeah.
detonators and Zeke, like building them, he could have put out like a Craigslist ad or something. But like the traffic maps, there's more to that story there that like we
Yeah,
have
I'm
not
sure has to
done.
be. Well, maybe
Yeah.
because like the episode description is like they become suspicious that like the CIA may be involved. Like maybe
Mhm.
someone like that's even higher up than they realize, like just
Yeah.
knows everything that they
Yeah.
don't
So
know.
then everyone is in the briefing room and Gray goes over what they know. The suspect is running a house in Lincoln Heights under the name Trevor Gurin. And they tracked him through traffic cams where his origin point was the professor's house. So Garza's like, that's great work. And Nyla's like, hold up. Simone deserves all the credit because she's the one who put it all together. And so everyone looks over at Simone and Garza's like, good work. And so she starts to like talk and, then he just cuts her off by saying like, they need to mobilize additional agents and HRT and notify Homeland and AFT. And I loved that Nyla was like, no, Simone deserves all of the credit here. Like women standing up for women. I love it. So then Gray tells Nyla and Angela like he needs the schematics for the house. And Tim's like, I'll put in a telephonic warrant out. Like, we've got this under control. So everyone leaves. Simone's still in the briefing room. And Garza is just like, you think that I should put you on the task force, don't you? And she's like, only a fool would keep me off of it. And Garza, just says like he's putting her on the task force and that she's riding with him. So she has a little celebration before like she goes out and they try and hunt down the suspect. So then they enter the house, they find the abducted husband on the ground dead. And Lucy's like, he was most likely killed last night. The
That's
place
sad. That
I
like
know.
bugged me because I was like, the guy did everything. Like he even was like the decoy
Yeah.
for the LAPD and
Yeah.
FBI to chase down. Like, really?
But then part of me was like, okay, so was he dead before Trevor even got to the
Oh,
the
like to
armory?
the army. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Because Trevor was seen driving away in a Humvee too.
That's true.
So it's like I doubt that he would have taken that back to the house
Yeah, that's
and been
true.
like, oh, let me just tie off loose ends. Like, no,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got a feeling that he was gone like
Yeah.
way before Trevor went to the armory, which is just sad because I mean
Well, because it's just like,
the guy got in trouble. So
yeah. I mean, because there's obviously he's like, there's a level of sociopathy that has to, be a part of this
Yeah.
Trevor character, Trevor's persona, if that even is his actual name. But it's just like, really, like he's apparently okay with this, like senseless killing.
yeah.
Bugs
So
me. I
then
felt bad for the guys. I did.
So then the place is empty and the next order of business is to tear it apart, looking for anything that can indicate targets. So while searching the house, Lucy finds a piece of paper stuck to the wall. It's just like a little shred of it. And she notices that there were other pins there, and it must have been like a map. So she's like, if we could find the publisher, we could match the pinholes with locations. And Simone comes back out and she's like, there's not a mattress in the bedroom. So the guy's like punishing himself, basically depriving himself of nothing soft, nothing warm, no creature comforts. And Gray, they start to like kind of psychoanalyze this guy. And Gray's like, well, maybe he finds the bed like too indulgent, and what better way to stay focused on the mission than to take away every small pleasure. And John's like, I just can't like wrap my head around the connection to Area 51 and why they would classify as fingerprints.
Same though, honestly.
yeah.
Like when Nyla was talking to Angela about Area 51, I was like, they did not just say that.
I was like, wait, so now we're bringing
What?
in another part? Like, I was
Yeah,
like,
was
there
like,
is a lot going
wow.
on right now.
Yeah.
So then they're talking more about Area 51 and the stories about aliens and stuff. And Lucy's over there just like cracking the case, like the
He
little
had so many
A-plus
good
student.
moments.
Yeah. She was like the little A-plus student. I loved it. And she figured that he would like write on the map. So she did a wall rubbing and found a word. And it's faint, but it says Enervo, which is Latin and means to deprive of power. So Tim's like, well, I worked with a lot of guys in the CIA while I was in Afghanistan, and Enervo is just the type of pretentious code name that they've given up. So Nolan's like, well, in a ground war, what's the military's first target? And Tim's like, well, to take out the enemy's infrastructure. So power, water, and Agent Fox is like, roads. That's his MO. And so, he's going to take out the freeways in Los Angeles, which like, that's a big feat in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we even saw like the aerial shot and it's just like one freeway just going through the city.
Yeah. There's so many like subdivisions though too.
Yeah.
Like even just within Los Angeles alone.
Yeah.
It's like, because I think wasn't it ironically the season 1 Redwood episode that like they had to section off or cordon off the freeways when the quote unquote president or vice president came to town?
Yeah, it was like the on and off ramps or something.
Yeah, and it took a long time to shut everything down. I can only imagine what would happen if something blew up.
Well, and then like they were on the freeway in Amber when the mom was like wanting to jump. And like that's not shutting down the entire freeway, but you're still like blocking off parts of the freeway, like for the scene. So then we cut over to the suspect and he's activating the bombs and like closes the moving truck, like the U-Haul that it's in. And then we see him walking over to these like innocent, I guess they're not really innocent because they're participating in this, but they don't know what they're doing. He introduces himself as Professor Meadows. Yeah. And he puts on a facade and he's just like the friendliest, like nicest guy. And it's like, dude, no, you're not. But like Yuri killed it once again. And he's like, I'm happy that you agreed to help with this research project of mine. And it's figuring out the traffic patterns in LA. So he gave them a precise driving route for the day. And it's vital that they follow the exact directions in the envelope. Otherwise, they won't get the rest of the payment. and technically blow themselves up. Like if they, I would assume if they don't follow that, then like they're obviously not safe from the explosion because they're driving it.
Yeah, exactly what I thought.
Yeah. So then like we end the episode and Trevor is standing on top of the parking structure, watching the trucks go their separate ways. He's got like his tablet behind his back and he turns around and he's just like proud of himself. So that's where we leave off for a week. Ominous ending.
Yeah. This was the ending that like, because I also watched a different ABC show called Big Sky where they literally, I mean, they were smuggling drugs, mind you, but still they were literally using like delivery like trucks and like hiring like truck drivers to go like move this product over state lines into Montana.
And Brian Garrity, who's another one Chicago alum, plays a fantastic, like,
he literally, his character died. He's gone now.
Oh.
His character died in this show. I'm sorry if I just spoiled that for anyone that actually might happen to watch Big Sky too. I apologize. But yeah, no, he's gone. He's gone off that show.
I thought that I just saw him in like a clip for like.
I mean, yeah, it was like fairly recent. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, but yeah, so like it just like gave me such deja vu to like watch the trucks go out because they literally did like a really similar shot in that show as well, where you could see the trucks drive off with all this merchandise.
I only watched like the first episode. Like I never went back and watched it, but yeah.
You want to talk about something that's crazy? That show is like nuts, but like in a really good way. Like I'm always like, they just always kind of like manage to do things that are like outlandish, but somehow it works.
Yeah. No, I just remember watching like Brian Garrity in the first episode, and I was like,
I know.
Okay, he can play a creepy guy like really well.
He's good at being creepy too.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that's like what the rookie's doing though with this like 2-part though, is like one-upping themselves like each time. Because like we're getting the same characters back, you know, like we're getting like obviously like, you know, the Yuri's characters is still there for the time being, like
Zeke, because we had the promo pics drop, so yeah.
I hope that we get more of like Lucy or like maybe like Nyla and Angela like kind of putting pieces together. Not that I mind that Nolan, you know, I mean obviously he's the main character, he's gonna, you know,
he's gonna be the center of it
too. Yeah, but it's just like, you know, because like when they were looking at like the maps and trying to figure out like why the valley, why are they targeting you know, the thing, to trying to figure out the armory, it was like Lucy was like, well, there's not a lot of high value targets, and then that kind of helped Nolan. So like I don't know, I want like that teamwork to still continue into this next part. So
I think I saw someone tweet, they were like, imagine Lucy and Simone like working really well together, and then the FBI like wanting Lucy to kind of come and work for them.
Oh man.
Which I could see it.
I could too, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if we're not doing Undercover Lucy right now,
right,
you know,
well, I'm like, the whole purpose of universes for TV shows and stuff is for characters to cross over. So if they do end up picking up the spinoff, like we could have Lucy crossing over, we could have Simone crossing over, we could have like any of them, and I would love that.
Yeah, it'd be so good.
Yeah. So that was it for the episode. I mean, like, I just need it to be next Sunday already.
I do too.
I've got other TV shows that like will rip my heart out this week, but I just really want like the next episode of The Rookie to come and just see where this all plays out. So
same here.
But we did have some listener thoughts. Do you want to take the first one?
Sure. So Mindy said that the episode was good. Would have been better with some Wesley. Yeah, we missed Wesley in this episode.
But we get him back next episode.
We do. That's so true.
And he's working with James, it looks like.
Yeah.
In a black Humley.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Mindy said, although it was nice seeing one of Sean's co-stars from The Following. Oh, that's right. That's where I've seen Felix Solis before. Oh my gosh, I feel dumb now. Yeah, The Following. That was the Kevin Bacon show that was
Okay.
like kind of cultish and like freaky, but like really good and like a thrillery kind of show. Yeah. He was, and yeah, Felix was an FBI agent on that show as well. He was like recurring, I think, on that show though. But anyway,
Oh,
yeah, that was cool. That's where, yeah, okay. Because I didn't watch the whole thing of The Following, but I watched quite a few episodes. But anyway, yeah, that is cool. Because like, I feel like, well, like I remember when Brandon McLaren was on earlier this season, like he and Sean got along really well. Of course, they shot numerous scenes together, so it's kind of fun that like they all get to like play and stuff.
yeah.
Nyla and Angela were amazing together again. And Mindy said it seemed right that Nyla knew more about Area 51 than Angela. Oh, yeah, that kind of works. And she says Simone is wonderful. Yeah. So
Yeah.
true.
I mean, like Angela not knowing much about Area 51, like I can kind of see it because I feel like her and Wesley watched a lot of like true crime documentaries. Like we've seen that obviously before, but I see them watching more like not like sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, I don't
Their free
really
time.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like very like facts, like logic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really see Nyla watching a lot of that, but I would assume because of her having Lila like being a little bit older, I don't know. Lila's probably like gotten into that or something, or James maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paige said she loved the whole thing, but can we talk about how Chenford had a freaking sleepover in the shop? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would. Someone had to stay awake though, because they had to like watch, or they were like on a stakeout. But I can totally see Lucy like putting up or like getting a little feisty with Tim and being like, you're gonna sleep and I have to like stay up and watch or whatever.
Yeah.
I can totally see like their banter with that.
Or I could see her like kind of dozing off, she did in the season 1 episode or whatever, when she couldn't stay awake. And then literally Tim would probably be like, he would be like trying to fall asleep, and then he'd be like, you gonna stay awake now?
Yeah.
And then she'd perk back up and be like, hey, shut up and you go to sleep then.
Yeah.
Like something like that for sure.
Yeah. And Paige also said, we need this spinoff. Seriously, the world needs to see that we need mental health professionals in the criminal justice field. I agree. It was nice to see that refreshing change of pace. Like, because with Nolan, like he gets to, like he tries to get into a suspect's mind and stuff, which is nice. But I felt like with Simone, it was almost like coming from like more of a genuine, I guess, place, because she was a guidance counselor, so she was like she knows more of what to look for, whereas John just tries to like connect with people.
Well, because then it's like in Nolan with like the union rep thing, I remember he had mentioned that mental health initiative and then it like got passed, but then it kind of dropped off, like that storyline kind of dropped off, so he didn't really mention any more mental health related, or like just how people think or how people feel in the show until Simone. So definitely agreed. Valerie had said she really liked the Simone character, thinks the spinoff has a lot of potential. The Chenford shop scenes are always top notch. The episode was fun. She enjoys the more realistic episodes better. She certainly understands why a lot of people like it. And a little fun fact about the military aspect of the episode, the Humvee isn't armored. It's just a hard clamshell configuration. Oh, so it's like not a weighted down. See, I don't know anything. I don't know anything because I'm thinking it's like this. I mean, I'm sure it is just like a massive vehicle regardless, but like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that it's not. Oh, okay, learn something new.
Well, like, because I feel like in other shows, and granted, this is TV, it's not like real life or anything, but where they've tackled the military background for characters, like they've said, like the characters have said, oh yeah, my Humvee was, under siege or attacked or something like in Afghanistan. So I mean, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were armored or they were like, they could have
Yeah.
just like been cornered in or something. But yeah, it's good. It's interesting to know that little fun fact. So,
Definitely.
and then NC Beach Girl 48 said it was a really good episode. They loved how it showed you can bring in your different experience from a former job and helps with your new career, and that the new woman slash guy needs to have a voice in the situation and be included as part of the team. Looking forward to part 2. Same. I liked how like it was similar to Nolan, but it wasn't, because it was coming from a female perspective, a person of color perspective, and she like Nolan was a construction or a contractor, and he just happened to be in like the wrong place at the wrong time with that bank robbery. Whereas like Simone had wanted to be in the FBI before she had kids. She
Yeah.
had she became a guidance counselor. Like she's always kind of been up for the challenge and like been working towards this, and she just had things that like got in her way, whereas Nolan like did a career 180 when he was like in his 40s. So yeah, it was interesting to see it from a different perspective and like really see like, okay, what does a woman have to deal with, what does a person of color have to deal with like when they're entering a new career, especially her being older too. It was cool to see.
Yeah. And I like how they brought, because like I know Aaron wasn't in this episode, but I felt like he could have really understood or like been another source of like, the incarceration angle that like
Yeah.
Simone's dad brought into it too. Cause it's like there's a lot of talk. I mean, like just in general of like, prison reform and like all the, but it's just like there's that aspect. There's, they brought the Black Lives Matter movement back, like they mentioned that. Like I just thought it was really like a good way to kind of bring these important social issues like back around on the Rookie, because we hadn't really touched on it a lot.
Well, and like Aaron's trying to reinvent himself, so is Simone. Like it would have been cool to see like those two kind of bond. And I wonder if we'll get to see Aaron at all for the rest of the season.
I don't know. I was just gonna think that. I was like, oh wait, we don't have that many episodes left. Dang it.
No. So I don't know, because we don't have episode descriptions for 21 and 22 yet. And honestly, like I'm a little worried about them because Eric keeps like teasing it. So just like for Chenford stuff, I think. But
Eric and the and the cameos and the chaos.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So no, it was a good episode.
For sure. So Janine had said really loves how they worked everyone into it. She did miss Wesley though. Yeah, I know. I remember, did I text you or did I tweet at you about Wesley?
You tweeted at me. Yeah.
I tweeted at you a couple times. Yeah.
And I didn't see it at first because I was tweeting, but my notifications tab open too, and I was like, why is she tweeting at me? And then I read the actual tweet and I was like, oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, about Wesley. Yeah, I know, because I was just like, oh, because like his name is listed. Well, I mean, okay, it's like Nathan, but then it goes in alphabetical order
right
after the fact. And so it was like Sean Ashmore, and I was like, okay, where is he?
Yeah, I think it was just listed because he's like a regular.
Yeah.
But I missed him.
That we get him next week. So there you go, Janine. We have confirmation that we get him back next week. And so she had read something, someone else had posted that because Chen is so smart and there's like similarities between her and Simone, could you imagine them trying to poach Lucy next season?
I think that's what I had read. Yeah.
Oh, okay, you had read. Okay.
Mhm.
See, this is gonna sound terrible. I'm forgetting that they're renewed for season 5 because it came early.
Yeah.
Like that sounds terrible, but I'm forgetting that there is like that like opening now that
Mhm.
they have this potential to play these new things out. Because Janina said she liked Casey and Lucy working together. So yeah, I did too. I enjoyed just like Simone, Casey, Lucy, Angela, Nat, like all the women. Not that I don't enjoy the men, but just like the girl power was like
Yeah.
so fierce in this episode.
I'm gonna need more of Agent Fox and Lucy Chen working together, please. Like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Janine loved the Chenford crumb of Tim giving Lucy a once over after she and Nolan escaped the explosion. Yes, that was a definite like crumb, like super quick, like blink and you miss it quick because I missed it the first time. The suspect was calculating and sneaky too, especially using the guard's husband to get him to break into the armory. Yeah, definitely. It was awesome how Chenford and Nolan took out the Hummer. Janine was the one that was wondering how would hitting the wheels be like dangerous. Yeah. I just wish I knew more about these things.
Yeah.
Because like I researched this for like
I
an
know, so did
hour,
I. And I
and
text
I
my
didn't learn
brother
anything.
who knows. Oh, well, I think he knows a little bit more about Humvees. He sure knows a lot more, I'm sure, than I do, but he
Yeah.
never responded. So,
Yeah, because like I couldn't.
and he watches The Rookie, but he's also like hours behind me in time. So,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So just that whole thing, I don't know, because then you have Bailey come in, which like brings the army thing like back around, but then it's like she like has a what's that expression, like she's dipped a toe into every kind of field
yeah.
or like thing, like she has like 6 jobs or whatever, so it's like you can't really get like a full story with
Mhm.
her. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
we've definitely gotten like bits and pieces. Like, I'd rather have a full backstory on her like we do for Simone so far than
Yeah.
like bits and pieces of Bailey's.
Yeah. But Janine says she missed their banter when they don't ride together. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Chenford banter, top notch. I mean, always, but like it was nice to have a couple pieces like in this episode.
Yeah.
She has so many questions regarding the Sleeping Beauty comment. So like if Tim was in the back of the shop sleeping, did Lucy try to close her eyes in the front of the shop? Yeah, see, this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, did she like doze off too? This is what I'm thinking too. And also, Lucy had said back seat. She thinks she means like the back doors. Don't they lock? So he was basically locked in the back of the shop. Oh.
Yeah, but
Yes,
can't
so.
she unlock them from inside?
I don't know though, because like wasn't there an episode in season 1 where like Talia didn't lock the door of the shop and so someone got in? Can you unlock them from the inside?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
That or he climbed. He climbed back. I'm going with
Can you
that.
imagine? Oh my god.
And Lucy's like, seriously, I'm dealing with this right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm going with that. It's canon now. It's canon. He climbed back there.
Well, don't they have the
Behind the
thing?
console.
The net is not the word. The cage, like the wind, like the crisscross, the hatch.
I'm choosing to believe that in that shop that night, it was not there.
Or he like just like kicked it out. He's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep.
Yep.
Like I don't want to wait.
He climbed over the console. She was in driver's seat. Yeah. I'm choosing to believe that he just climbed on back there. He was like, you're up front. You're watching. Like, you're in the driver's seat. I'm taking a nap for an hour. Because she did say that he only slept for like an hour. So it wasn't that long. But
Yeah, it's so funny that people like kind of ran wild with that whole like idea just of like Chenford. And, like,
Because she did say in the back, right? Because here I
Yeah.
was thinking, like, well, he could just like lay the front seat down.
I would
But
think. I don't know. No idea. I've never actually been in a
I mean,
place.
see, I was just thinking
No.
last night, I was like, okay, so Lucy was in there when he was sleeping, even for just an hour. So, like, did she take note? Like, does he snore? Does he sleep talk? Like, come on. Like, I was just, I mean, give me a crumb and I'll just take it and run with it. Like,
Well, especially since we didn't get the full like, they both didn't fall asleep in 401, like at the
yeah.
like in that one scene, because they got the call or whatever about Guatemala. So don't really know either of their sleeping habits. So
But I am going with that he like climbed in the back over the console or whatever they have in the middle. I'm going with that.
And last thing Janine said was like, oh my gosh, Simone Clark, this is going to be a hell of a show. She loves Niecy. They made her one-liners fit like perfectly for her. And like between her first scene, every scene after, she enjoys seeing her on screen. And Simone, Angela, and Nyla are an awesome triple threat. And who would have thought both cases were connected? Yeah, I thought that was so cool too. Like how just everything like kind of fell into place like for the first part of the episode, because they're still in the whole,
Yeah.
path to go. So yeah, for sure. Loving it. Really hope the spinoff gets picked up, putting out all the good vibes for that.
I know. I know.
So,
I hope so. And I hope that we don't have to like wait like weeks on end to find out.
yeah. Or like I could see it being like a what's the word? Mid-season like filler
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
Because like will it be on well, the rookie's already on at 9 p.m. on Sundays. And they've got stuff that airs right up until the rookie on Sundays. So like would it be because like the 911 shows they're both on Mondays, but Lone Star only comes on like the mid-season? I don't know, they've like a weird schedule. And the one Chicago shows like they're on Wednesday nights. It would make sense to have them on like on the same night because the Law and Order shows are all on Thursdays. Same with Grey's. Like, oh my gosh, all of these universes. There's so many.
Yeah.
That it would just make sense to have them both on Sunday night.
And I think aren't the FBI's on CBS on the same
On Tuesdays?
Tuesdays, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, Dick Wolf, Ryan Murphy, and Shonda Rhimes just like own TV. And pretty soon Alexi Holly will be because I'm manifesting the spinoff. I'm manifesting it.
For sure. Totally. 100%.
Is there any other universes like on TV? What's the one on CW, like Legacies or something?
Oh yeah, I don't actually know what it's called. Like
I don't know if
there
it's
was
the
the Vampire
universe.
Diaries, the originals, and then Legacies.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a huge universe. I don't watch CW, but yeah.
And then I know like All American had just come out with a spin-off show for them. That's like a literal like American like young adult drama. So
Yeah.
not like a supernatural kind of thing, but yeah. Tons
Yeah.
of universes. Tons of TVs just killing it, and hopefully the rookie can like prosper in that way.
Yeah. I don't know. Like honestly, I didn't see the rookie like potentially getting a spinoff, but like when the news came out about this and like after seeing this episode, I'm like, I can totally see it now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I just like didn't think about it that much before, but yeah, now I'm like, okay, well, you showed me part one of a like backdoor pilot and now I need it. Like give me the spinoff. So
Yeah. For whatever reason though, maybe it's just because I live on the East Coast and like I don't know anything about the West Coast except for my one time visiting California. I like kind of thought for whatever reason the spinoff would be like East Coast. Or like, since like she's she was in the like Quantico, or like Washington DC, East Coast. Kind of thought it would take place there, like somewhere on the East Coast, but
yeah, but she's also from LA, so it would make sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. It is interesting, but I don't know. We shall see.
Yeah.
I noticed that the rookie fandom is getting bigger. Like in the last few days, if not like a week, 2 weeks, there's been like new fans like join. There like someone tweeted yesterday, I spent 4 weeks binge watching the rookie to watch it live tonight or something. And there's been quite a few new like fans. So I mean the fandom's getting bigger. It's such a little family. So
Yeah.
well, and like we were talking to Heather when we did like a rookie rewatch slash shop talk like game night the other night. And Heather Elf 77 on Twitter had said that she was in the rookie fandom like when it first started, and she was like it was nothing compared to what it is now in
Yeah.
terms of like fans and you know
Mhm.
all of the Twitter chaos. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's grown, that's for sure. Thanks to the pandemic, honestly. So
Can speak from experience. That is how I got into it. So.
yep.
The only good thing, really, to come out of 2020 for me was that show.
Basically. The
So,
only thing that really come out of the 2020s overall, because like honestly, we're 2 years into this new decade and like I feel like nothing has really changed. So
yeah, it can just, it stayed the same, but
yeah.
stay the same.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight's episode. You can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804.
And I'm at Kari Hyman.
And we'll be back next week to discuss 420. But in the meantime, you know, we are still just like tweeting out content. If you want to get rookie merch, we've got a TeePublic store for that. Kind of gear up for the finales. They've always got sales going on. And yeah, we've only got like 3 episodes left until May 15th. So that's exciting. And also, like, where did the season go? So yeah. But that's it from us. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.